Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Webydo webinar of the week. No killer, no brainer. Let's build a sick homepage together. I'm your host, Jan Bobot, and I will teach you on how to build a killer homepage. Okay, so today's webinar will be understanding why do we need to actually concentrate on the homepage. Why is the homepage the most important page of our website, and of course, how to build it. So first of all, it's extremely important for me to explain to you what exactly a homepage is and why is it so important. So number one, a homepage is basically like I would say a CV, for example. Okay, when you submit for a job interview, and of course you need to impress, right? So a homepage is important because it's basically the first thing that users that we see when we access a website. So number one, it's the first impression that counts, right? So number two, so viewers basically expect to see everything in one place. That's why a homepage is also very important. Okay. Um, Again, in the interview, the interviewer is expecting you to have everything. Okay, so your homepage should include mostly all the important things. Okay, so number three, if also they like the design, even though it's not exactly precisely what they're looking for, if they like the design, the first impression, again, they'll continue to explore. Okay, next. So, part one, okay? We need to show the viewers what we're actually doing from the beginning, right? So the first banner, the first show, what people are looking at is what counts. Okay, so first of all, what topics are we going to concentrate on? In terms of the Webydo Studio. So number one, we'll be concentrating quickly on how to create a banner using a shape fit to width. Number two, I'm going to show you also how to use the slider and of course the gallery elements and why are they also very important, okay, in terms of design. Number three, banner using a fluid grid. So again, it's going to be more towards the gallery section, and we'll be creating a beautiful one-page homepage, and we'll basically cover the main elements that you need inside of a homepage. Okay, so before I show you this, I would like to show you the homepage here. Okay, so here we have a nice looking homepage. Of course, if you want to know how I did the menu, please visit us and see the webinar for the menus and forms. Okay, so you see here, this is kind of the first impression. Start building sites properly. Okay, you have two buttons that we'll cover also. Okay, so you have, as you can see here, I have been using a lot of the main elements in our Webydo Studio: galleries, buttons, simple shapes. That's how I do them. Inside that shapes, we'll be putting background images. These are icons. Okay, so you also have a home slider. I'm also going to show you how to build this slider here. Okay, now of course, if you want to add text to it and add a certain effect to it, this is how it looks. And I'm sure you also had the opportunity to view the site home. And this is the fluid grid. Okay, so on one side you have the designer's view, and the other side you have the CMS view. What we offer, wonderful. Okay, so let's start. So the intro banner. Let's actually replicate this. We're gonna go to pages. We're just gonna let's actually create a new menu and call it new home. New page. So basically you have the page blank like this. What we're going to do, we're going to concentrate on making a shape. Okay, so what we need to do is simply drag and drop the shape, make it fit to width, put it to the top, y equals 0 to make things quicker, expanding it precisely to, I would say, 800 pixels. Okay, and under the fill section, add the background image, and you can choose any image. So I can go on my downloads section and see the images that I have. So for example, I have a cool city. Because I have nice images like this. Okay, as you can see, it fills 100% of the width of my site. Okay, I'm gonna add another shape, fit to width, and this time, same thing, and this time we're gonna change colors. So of course, on my previous webinar, I showed you how to create those types of banners, and the main concentration here is basically the first impression. Right now, we're concentrating on the first impression. So what we're going to do, we're gonna fill this with the, I would say, blue. Okay, so you have two options, either solid color, make it transparent and add text to it, okay? Or you can have a gradient color. And I know right now it's kind of the trend, as you can see, there's the blue on the left and sort of transparent color on the right. So this is good, this is still very good. So instead of making it 50%, you can play around with it, making it 70%, and you have a nice looking banner. So this is the first impression. So right now we're looking at Samsung, the virtual reality helmet. So maybe a good quote, maybe a good title. Okay, title, making a title for the page is also very important in regards to SEO wise, that we'll be covering in the next few weeks. Okay, so how to build a killer homepage. Select all of it, change the color to white. And of course, this is a page color if I'm not mistaken. So H1. Okay, instead of Montserrat, we can change our fonts. And of course, it's also extremely important to have it very big, especially the homepage in regards to text. I would even say 90 to 95. It's always good to test to see how it looks. Okay, maybe we would want to put it on the side. It doesn't matter as long as it gives a good first impression. Okay, so I see that it's kind of too big, I would say. So let's change it to 60, 65, just like that. There you go. Next, what we're going to do, this is in regards, by the way, I'm not going to go into buttons yet. I'm going to go to title, change it to white. And again, if you want to go and see what type of text size you should do for this section, it's always 16 pixels for paragraphs. Okay, again, please do come and visit the webinar session of responsiveness, and you'll get the exact sizes for all paragraph styles. So this is basically what we have, okay? And I'm just going to go over very quickly on the menu. But before I do so, I just want to cover exactly the cheat sheet because I understand that all of you are kind of appreciating the cheat sheet that I'm creating for all of us. Okay, so of course what I did is a shape fit to width. You drag and drop the shape element on the design panel. You're going to check the box that says fit to width. You're going to go to the fill tab and add background image. So this is the first choice. Second choice is the gallery element. Okay, so you can also do something like a full width slider. So let me show you exactly what to do here. And this is where I'm going to teach you about the sliders. Okay, so number one, what I want to do, I want to keep this kind of design. This is kind of what I like. Instead of page 1, we're going to say home page 1. Home 1. Okay. What we're also going to do, we're going to duplicate this so that we have the same content. We don't want to work twice, and just call it home 2. Wonderful. And now we can open the home 2 page. Okay. Now 1, 2, and 3, we can move down. And this we can delete. So In regards to the galleries element is located on the left side of your studio under the galleries tab, and you have a bunch of galleries. We're not going to go over on hover effects yet, either on Lightbox or 3D Parallax yet. We will going to go over them soon. What we're going to do, we're going to drag and drop the full width element. And just on the design, remember when I told you on the basic stuff that from the block to the bottom, everything is done in regards to design-wise and property-wise through the properties element. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the same sizing, 800, y equals 0, just like that. So I just changed the size and positioning. Now I'm basically completely even done with that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to close this, and now I'm going to take out the properties panel. So the properties panel right now is telling me, okay, so if I double click here, or if I click on this button, it's going to ask me to manage those images. So let's delete all of them by creating delete all, and we're going to add images. Okay, so I remember I had the first image, so let's do one by one. Okay, so we have this image. That's one. Add another image. And then we can figure out which one would be the best. Pixels for photo. Another image. And there you go. You can also change their positioning by simply dragging and dropping those elements. Now, for every image, you have a title and description. Okay, so title is basically whatever you want. So you can say how to build, and on the description, a killer homepage. Okay, now when we're clicking on that image that is inside the slideshow, we can link it to either a pop-up, an anchor, a URL, a page, or just not link it at all. Normally that's what we do. We don't link it, we don't need to. And then when you're done, you click on save. There you go. Now you see the text is basically kind of like as a default text, and you want to change it. You want to change it to your fonts, to your paragraph styles. So it doesn't work instantly on the paragraph styles, which by the way, I need to change. This is only one, and you see I also forgot. For the second image, I have to have another title. How not to build. And here, a killer homepage. And here, this is a webinar. You should ask questions. There you go. And then you save. And then you can see that all of my text is inside of here. So we've done the most important part is uploading images and basically putting text into it. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to customize the text that is inside. We're going to also customize the slider that is happening right now, the effects, basically everything. So now, just letting you know that you have the option of selecting right here or unselecting what you want to show, whether it's arrow navigation, bullet navigation, or autoplay transition. It's always good to keep the autoplay transition checked. Now, right above it, you have image fitting. So basically, try to imagine this is a slider, right? And the slider is kind of like fit to width shapes, okay? And inside that shapes, you're putting in images, exactly what we just did, right? So it basically covers the whole shape of the slider, but you can change that. So you can make it contain the image, but the thing is that when it contains the image, it doesn't fill in the whole element, as you can see here, because all images are different sizes. That's why it's mostly important to put cover. It's like when the fitting on the shape. Here, this is a shape. Let's go on the design panel. I can fill it. Size, fill, as you can see here. Okay. So it's basically the same thing. So cover. Next, image transition. So you have a bunch of transitions. Zoom to front, zoom to back, slide vertical, slide horizontal. So let's do slide horizontal. Okay, now we can see that it kind of slides. Cool. Now, hover effects. So hover effects are effects when you hover over the image. So I can basically do just a small zoom in, right? If I go on preview and I zoom into the image, it's going to zoom in. Okay, so it kind of zooms in pretty fast. You can change the transition, the hover transition. Okay, this is where it is. Now it is important for me to show you this because you might miss something when you're creating a slider or a fluid gallery, which by the way is basically the same thing. Okay, in regards to properties. Okay, the bullet color, well, we don't need it, but we could change it to whatever we want. And this is for the display text, title, and description. So first of all, do you want to display what text? Do you want to display titles only, description only, title and description, or maybe none? Okay. In our case, we said yes. Description and title style, we're going to change it to the paragraph style that we created together. Okay, so gallery title, let's see what it is. Here you go. And description, I already set it up. Gallery description. I think I did well. Yeah, gallery description. If I go on preview, oh, it's not a preview that we need to do. Whenever you're having this and it doesn't upload the exact fonts, don't worry. On the published version, it is going to appear. Just on the studio itself, it doesn't appear. So you already have here, if I click and I scroll like this, which by the way, it is possible, you'll see exactly the slider and the paragraph style that you set. Now, of course, if I want to add a certain effect on the text itself, so text transition, so I can make it move horizontal, vertical, clip, let's say clip vertical top like this. No, maybe, you know what, move vertical like this. This is exactly the slider that we did before. As you can see, every time that it slides, I have text coming up. Simple as that. Now also the transition delay, you choose the delay of every transition and the transition duration. You can change the title vertical and title horizontal position exactly like the description vertical and description horizontal. I can change it to, let's say, 90, and you're going to see that my title is here. If I change it to 10, it's going to be at the top like this. Okay, same thing goes to description vertical and description horizontal. Let's see if, oh, no, sorry, other way around, 20. There you go. So this is basically how to create a slider. I normally don't put titles and description. I don't know why, because I kind of want to have a gradient like this. Of course, if I move everything up, right, and the slider, I'm just going to push it down because it's the last thing that I did. I just want to build this right over here. Okay, cool. So this is basically it. Now, let's create very quickly a menu for home 1 and home 2. So menu is right here. Okay. And of course, if you want to go and dive deeper into the menu, then just please look at my webinar. So here we're just going to change our fonts. Our fonts will be white. Okay. Stroke, we can keep the stroke. We'll make it round. Just not going to fill it like this. We're just going to make a margin of 25. This is on normal state. On rollover state, we're just going to fill it with white. Side color, white. And the font will be blue, and the active state basically going to be the same. As you can see, this is exactly what I wanted. And all I need to do is put it here. Okay, now I'm just also going to add the logo. And I'm going to explain why the logo is very important. It's just a show who you are, basically. Icons, no, it's logos. There you go. If I publish this, this is basically the first good impression of my website. Okay. Now, of course, this is a big because it's on the big screen. This is generally how your website looks like. Cool. So let's continue and work our way through. So let's go back to our presentation right now. So this is this is basically the gallery element, the full width slider. So drag and drop the full width slider element, double click on the element, upload your images, take off the bullets and arrows, show titles and description, which are none, and you got it. So the gallery fluid grid. Fluid grid is exactly the same thing. Okay. I'm gonna basically show you how I did the fluid grid. So same exact elements, okay, as the slider. I'm just going to move this shape up. This, by the way, this image, this moving image is a GIF. So now I'm selecting the fluid grid. Whoops, sorry. Sorry again. Yes, I did put a lot of layers inside. So I'm moving this one, okay? If I double click, I'm going to have the same exact image type. Okay, so I just put two images, okay? And just going to go on the properties. So it is exactly what we did before. Okay, you know what's even better? Let's actually create it together. I'm just going to do Control Z a few times. There we go. Instead of home 2, we're just going to duplicate. And call it home 3. Okay, so this we're going to take out. We're going to go to our Galleries tab. Fluid Grid. So Fluid Grid, number 1, we're going to put it to the top. Our height will be 800, or even, yeah, let's keep it to 800, right? Now, if I go to the Properties panel, again, image fitting cover, as always. Number 2, desktop columns. These are the columns that will appear on the desktop. Right now, they're set as 4 columns. If you set it to 6, then it's going to separate to 6 columns. If you separate it to 1, it's going to be separated to 1 column. So 1 image per column. In our case, we just want to separate it to 2 columns. That's 1. Okay, which, by the way, I do need to delete all these images and add better images. I would say images. Oh, there we go. 1, or I can select multiple ones at the same time. Doesn't matter. Okay, move them, pop up, none, none, save. So I have 2 images, right? Tablet. So on the tablet, I should be viewing only 1 column. If I go right now to the tablet, I'm just going to see 1 column. If I want tablet 2 columns, also, then I go to tablet, I'm going to see a same thing, 2 columns. Okay, so mobile landscape, and mostly portrait, it's always going to be 1 column. And image height, I can put the 800 here. Hover effects, we don't need hover effects, so we're just going to say none. You can have actually 2 hover effects at the same time on 1 image, so 2 effects per image. Okay, display title, no. Display description, no. Display text background, no. Hover transition speed, I don't need it. Title style, don't need it also, but it's the same exact thing as the slider. And you have the text background color and text row color. So here I can actually push this up. on the design, we'll put it there. Just going to put this at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this shape because I'm just going to have a better design. Of course, I cannot. It's just a way to make on the left more blue, even though the opacity is 70, and on the right more transparent blue. Okay, of course, if I do, I can still play around with the opacity. The thing is, I need to have an opacity like this. It still works. Okay, we can use it like this, but I always prefer having multiple layers. It doesn't affect anything in regards to SEO design, just a simple design method. Okay, so here what we're going to do, we're going to say designer. We'll center this. We'll duplicate this so we have the same paragraph style. We're going to call CMS. Okay, and this is also something extremely good to use when you're using Webydo basically, and you want to provide a CMS access to your client. So basically, if you want a designer to work with you, so they can choose designer. If you want a CMS as a client to work with you, the user can choose CMS. Of course, we'll be having a webinar on how to sell websites more properly. Okay, I know that a lot of you have been asking this, so we will be having one like that. Okay, hopefully very soon. In the meantime, what we want to do, we just want to concentrate on how to design. Okay, this is not very important. Just going to duplicate. Of course, I just press Command D or Control D. So because you have two different elements, you want it to be very precise. Generally, you drag and drop the text element. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to use the automatic layout tool and just group it. Put it on the side. Okay, it saves you a lot of time. There you go, and I can also use the automatic layout tool for 2 columns. There you go. We can move this 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So let me copy the menu here. Copy and go back to the other page and whoops, sorry. Paste. This is here. Let's go back to home. Copy this element. Go back to home 2. Paste. There you go. Okay. So don't be shy. Ask your questions. I'm gonna answer all of your questions towards the end of the webinar. You can still ask questions during the webinar, so please do. So this is for the fluid grid. Let's go back to the presentation. Gallery element, fluid grid, drag and drop the fluid grid element, double click on the element to add your images, set columns for desktop, tablet, landscape, and portrait, change the image height based on the element itself, and uncheck display title, description, and text background. That's exactly what I did. If you want the cheat sheet, please send us an email and we'll send it to you. It's very easy to do, or if you guys want, you can take a screenshot or a picture of this cheat sheet. Next, so logo, menu, and buttons. Okay, so I explained to you how I did the menu. Okay, it's always extremely important to have a logo. Okay, because we need to know who are you. When you think of Instagram or Facebook, you think of the logo first, and then you're looking, you're visualizing the website. Okay. Now we built a menu and buttons, which are called also, in other words, call to action. Okay. So what exactly is a call to action? Why inside of buttons? What is a call to action? So it's kind of a call to action is basically, if we go to our other slide, explain there. Let's call them CTA. Okay, we refer them as CTA, the initials. it's basically to tell, okay, so if you're, in our case, what we did here, if you're a designer, then go here. If you're a CMS, then go there. So basically, what it's telling me, yeah, like I wrote here, it's here to bring a user to the next logical step. So in our case, if we're a CMS user, if we're a client, then we log in through the button that you put for us there, and we continue making our changes or whatsoever. Okay, so we could say maybe, for example, a free trial, try now for free. Login is also a call to action. Okay, start today. Maybe if you're a new client, then start with us today. And you can also apply it on the email, like you guys did when you click on the email to register for this webinar. This is also a method for a call to action. If you look on the Webydo website, you have 3 colors. The main colors that you see is also yellow, and yellow are also appeared on the buttons. Okay, so it kind of brings you to click on it so that it brings you to the next logical step. Now, what use is there to have CTA buttons? Okay, so like I told you before, it basically brings you to the next logical step as written here. Okay, but when you click on it, it brings you to, for example, in our case of the webinar, it brought you to the webinar registration. So what you needed to do, you needed to register so that you can attend the webinar, so that we know that you're attending the webinar. So this is basically, we're putting you, we're basically pushing you, guiding you into registering exactly like we wanted. So it's exactly like you, when you're going to bring a user to your services, because of course the main idea is to sell websites, you need to have call to action buttons because you want the user to at least try you out. Okay, so again, like I said, basically the main conversation here was basically to tell visitors what to do next. So this is exactly what we did. So number 1, before we even begin designing buttons, how to design them. So number 1, you need to set them as you need to set the paragraph styles. This is exactly what we're going to do live. So we're going to go on our studio, and what we're going to do, we're just gonna, you don't need to do it like exactly like I do. I like to visualize things before I save them, and I'm sure you guys do too. So I'm just going to drag and drop the title. I'm going to double click on the title, and like Mr. Yan said, I need to set the paragraph style first for the buttons. So of course the buttons are not going to be 35 on 40. They're going to be 16 on 20. 16, 20. Now, buttons are most likely going to be white. So let's change the color to white. Okay, I can click anywhere else and see how the sort of the button looks like. Okay, so I'm going to change to my font. It's centered. When I'm done, I'm going to click Save as a New Style. And what I'm going to do, Webinar button white, and I'm going to change the tag to P. When I'm done, I click check, and I can also change this to the blue color, because let's say I want a white, white button, and inside the text will be blue. So I'm just going to change the text, and I'm going to add again by clicking on this small button here, Save as New Style. And instead of copy, I'm just going to call it blue. There you go. Okay, fine. I set my paragraph style. What's next? Okay, choose your button. So I'm just going to go on the button section here. Galleries, buttons. Oh, wonderful. So you have a solid button, you have a ghost button, you have a radius button. So in my case, I like radius buttons. Okay, I can choose also line buttons. This is also nice. You have call buttons. Call buttons, just to let you know, when I'm drag and drop the call button and I go to the properties panel, I can just simply add a phone number. So it's also good if you make your website responsive and you put a call button inside your mobile portrait button, mobile portrait layout, so that if somebody wants to get in touch with you, simply needs to click on that button and he will be calling you through his paid service, Rogers, AT&T, and just simply call you for questions or for even open an account with you guys or get a quote for a website. So on the button, like we said before, in regards to properties panel, from the blog section to the bottom, we're only using paragraph styles, properties panels. Sorry. Okay, in regards to design and properties. So button text. Remember we said start now. Let's say start now. Okay. Now text style. Webydo button like this. As you can see, also on buttons, we don't see the changed font, but when we publish the website, we see the uploaded font. Okay, it's just that on the studio it doesn't show directly. So here I can change the background or border transition. So this is the effect. Basically, what I can do, I can change instead of the background, sweep to top, and you're gonna see the effect that it does. Button effect, I can make it bounce in. Okay, if I go on preview, kind of going to see what it does. Bounce in. Okay. All right, corner radius, I'm going to do 10. Just enlarge it. Make it wider. Maybe instead of 10, we're just going to change it to 5. Yeah, 5 is very nice. So I changed the width to 250, like this. I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops, sorry. Start now, sorry. Didn't say choose now. Start. Now enter, button white, border color white, and of course you do the whole change like we did before, 20 on 50, 200 on 50. And the border radius, 5. In the middle, I have snap to smart guides. That's basically it. There you go. Thank you very much. All right, so we covered basically what we wanted to do. Again, we said design the link through the properties panel. So now we have part 2. This was only part 1. So this is where the fun actually begins. So it's important that we kind of know a bit about your company, about what you do, the service that you offer, right? So we went over the buttons. We know exactly how to design them, how to design the first impression. Part 2, okay? Tell us a bit about yourself. Make a short description of who you are and why you do this, okay? Now, the about you, even though you can have a huge page that says exactly about the company itself, which is normal, it's always important to have an about you that has up to 3 lines. Okay, so number 1, you need to make it very, very, very simple. Number 2, you really need to make it very, very simple. And number 3, as you all guessed, you really need to make it simple. Okay, you don't need to make it complicated. You're just a startup company that want to bring users to their website, period. Nothing else. Part 2 of part 2, instead of just telling us who you are, why not tell us what you offer? So it's kind of tricky because you also need to keep it very, very clear. Okay, so number 1, what you need to do is that you need to make it simple. Number 2, you do really need to make it simple. And number 3, yes, you do need to make it really simple. It's as simple as that. Because if you give too many services, you're going to confuse the user and you're just going to drive the user out of your website. You don't want that. You want to give and provide the best 3, 4 tops offers that are inside your homepage. Okay? Do not put too much content, but don't put too little content. Okay? If that's the direction that you want to go. If you directly after the banner that we just did together, you want to offer 10 services, then me personally, I would get out of your website because I only need 1. So it's always important to keep it very simple and to tell the user, okay, you're looking for one service, I'm going to give you up to 3, even 4 best of my services, and maybe you should see if one of them is inside my website. So here, if we go on the home fluid, so you have 2 options. So you have the normal homepage, this, who we are, that's it. And what features do you have? Maybe. Okay, so you have web design, you're using the Google Cloud platform as a web service. Okay, if let's say I'm a client and I wanna have a website, so I go through you, which by the way, again, sorry, I need to make this smaller so that it shows that it's much better because I'm using a huge screen right now. You also provide mobile solution, and you also provide our your e-commerce solution, which by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we also launched our e-commerce solution, so maybe you should come and check it out. Okay, so on the fluid grid, I just took off who we are and I went through very aggressively, and I said, okay, this is what we offer. We will offer web design. Not only that, we offer also mobile solutions that are, I would say, mobile applications maybe. Okay, we also offer e-commerce, and everything is done through the cloud platform. So you see, when you're looking in regards to design, you're looking at 4 features or 4 offers or 4 services, okay? And most chances are either your solution is what I'm looking for, or maybe I'm looking for something that is completely different from what you offer. In that case, I'm not the right person for you. Okay, so what you want to do is that you want to attract the right people. Let's go back. All right. So like I said before, obviously after the webinar ends, we're gonna send you not only the recording but also the presentation. So again, tell us what you offer, things you should include in your offers. In regards to design, you need to put images, okay, that are also icons. And I don't know if I mentioned it before. I can send you a website, a beautiful website called Flat Icon. I'm gonna put it here on the chat, flaticon.com. There you will find amazing icon, flaticon.com. Yeah, that's the one. And you have over 215,000 flat vector icon. Okay, so you can type web design and you have 465 icons. So you have a huge variety of icons, and you can also filter them, and it's all free. Okay, so an important note, it's important that your layout is separated into 2 colors. I don't know if you guys noticed, okay? I have a white color and I have a sort of a bluish white color, okay? It's always, you can make it black, white, black, white, black, white. Every section is a different color. That's how your layout should be like, okay? Because what you're doing, you're bringing out the elements from your website, right? So here, if I had only white, you wouldn't notice the features that I want you to show. Okay, that's why changing colors for the eye is important, because okay, let's try thinking as a designer in regards to the user interface. Now that I'm changing color, I'm concentrating on the elements that are inside the website. If it was all white, then I would kind of skip it. Okay. Part 3, show us what you can do. Okay. It's very simple. You did projects. You're not with us because you didn't do anything. You have a great potential. You're an amazing designer or an amazing businessman, and you just want to offer a certain service. Great. So that means that you did something in the past. Okay, you did. You showed up. You had projects in the past. Why not showing it to us? So here, it's important that you put your latest projects exactly like a CV. You always need to tell us, okay, what did you do in the past? But I don't want to know what you did 10 years ago. I want to know what you did. What's the latest thing that you did? What's the latest project that you did? So in that case, I want to know what it is and I want to see it. Give me also your best designs. Also, and although it's the latest project, it's always important to filter what was the best project that you did. For us, since we're talking about web design, we're looking at websites. What's your latest website projects or web design projects that you did before? And also show me the best ones. Okay. Now it's not something that you need to show to the to the um, to the interviewer, but it's important to put it there. Part 3. Note: if you worked on with popular companies, or you were sponsored, of course, by companies, write it down. It's important that you know who knows you. Okay, in a lot of startup companies, you're going to see, okay, so as seen on TechCrunch or on Web Designer News or on Webydo, it's good because it gives you a better impression from the user. Okay, you're a serious company and you do website. Of course, if you go on Muka Design, they also use our platform, so Muka Design also make designs for Victoria's Secret. So we already know, okay, so if they are already working with Victoria's Secret, they're probably very popular and very serious. So obviously I would like to have a website with them. Part 4. Before I get to part 4, I would like to show you, in regards to design, this is how you can show your latest project. Whether you're a graphic designer and you want to show latest projects like these. Again, I need to resize the screen. Sorry for that. Or maybe if I go on the home fluid, which is a fluid grid here, that's why I called it home fluid. Our latest projects, these are browsers. Okay, and inside just put a screenshot of the website. Okay, so of your latest and best projects. Okay. Testimonials is also very important. We're going to get into that very soon. Let's go back to a way to get information. Okay, so I apologize for that. It's important that I explain to you newsletters, and then I'm going to show you how I did this awesome fluid grid. Okay, so sign up for newsletters. Having something like that is extremely, extremely important. Why? Because you want to get important information. Okay, you want to convert leads into paying customers. That's how you need to do it. You want to send newsletters. You want to basically work with them. You want to have a certain information, and certain information in email is gold for you. Why? Because that same person that has the email will probably contact you. So why is it important? Because you can get an email for newsletter, for example. You can also make a different type of form, which, by the way, this is a form element. You can have a different type of form by asking for a phone for a quote. So yeah, you put a form, and in that form, it's not only asking for a name and email, but it's also asking for a phone number. So if the user puts in the phone number, that's amazing. You can call that person. You can say exactly, okay, so based on what you told me, I understand that you want a website that does this and that. This will be my quote. Are you interested? And this gives you room for bargaining, for setting up a deal, and for basically selling a website. Part 5, testimonials. So show us what you're worth trying. That's basically it. Okay. Here I have a testimonial from myself. Okay. Testimonials was done through the galleries element, but not from the gallery section, from the basic element section. Okay, I'm going to show you right now what I did. Basic elements, gallery section. Okay, so you kind of have a default gallery that doesn't, I won't lie, it doesn't look that nice, but if you go on the PSD to Webydo webinar that I did a few weeks ago, you're going to see exactly how to make amazing, amazing testimonials, okay, and do something very, very similar. Now, how did I did the cool fluid grid that we see right here, okay? This is a fluid grid element. What did I do? Simple, exactly like we did here, I just dragged and dropped. We're going to go to the gallery section. I just dragged and drop this fluid grid. I'm just going to change it to 600. Desktop columns 2. Again, tablet, I can change it. Let's take out these things. Let's double click here, delete everything. And we're just going to add one image. Not going to add the same image, but no, okay. Let's do the wood free. Okay. And I'm also going to add a blank image. What is a blank image? It's an image. It's a PNG image, and inside that image, there's nothing in that image. It's completely transparent. Okay, so let's add to it. Now, thankfully, I called it blank. There you go. It's nothing. You can see on the preview, it has nothing. It could be very small. It could be nothing, but it's a file. It's still a file with certain. Well, basically, it's not very nothing, but it's a small file. You get what I mean. Okay, so I just uploaded these. Again, linking none. None here. Save it. Image height 600. There you go. Okay. And here, all I need to do is put a text. Let's just simply copy what I did before. Home fluid. Is it home fluid? No, it's home normal. There you go. One, two. Copy. Home 2. Is it right? Yeah, home 2. Paste. And move it up. How did I do the second one? I'm just going to duplicate this one. Of course, I need to add a different image. Double click and change the order like this. And there you go. I'm going to click on 2 elements here. Duplicate and put it here. There you go. Simple as that. Okay, next. Footer. So, don't get me wrong. It's important to have a footer. Okay, why? Because a footer leads back to all kinds of pages. Okay, on the Webydo menu, you don't see all the pages of Webydo. Webydo has a ton of pages. Airbnb has a ton of pages, but it's important to have, for example, a footer because it displays all the links to exactly everything that you need to know. Okay, that's why it's important to have a footer. Now, again, like I said here, the purpose of a website footer is to help visitors by adding information navigation options at the bottom of the web pages. Okay, it's basically to relocate them. It's important. It's useful. It's going to lead them, especially when you're going to add analytics into it. Okay, you're going to see which page of what website is extremely popular. Just by the way, this is kind of an SEO trick, and in that case, you'll be able to guide them through the call to action buttons inside to that specific page. But nevertheless, it is extremely, extremely important to have the footer in every page the same, number one, okay? And number two, to have all the links of all the important pages of your website and to have it there so that they can navigate to any other page and not be lost, of course. Questioning time. I'm going to give you a few minutes. Okay, please ask all of your questions. I know that we have a few questions here. I'm going to answer them. So that's basically it. Okay, so we have a question here with Aniela Sevilla. Okay, she said that she tried working with paragraph styles and text while she was doing the mobile version, and it was pretty much too big. So I highly suggest coming into the responsiveness webinar that I did last week. But basically, what you need to do, you just need to change the paragraph style on which the gallery element is filled with. Okay, so try that. So we have a question from Christian that was experiencing a problem in regards to the fit to width image or gallery, and sometimes the image it was kind of cropping the image. So please just do pay attention that the image itself is inside. It is filling or covering the shape. If you're still experiencing some issues, try redoing it, or maybe try expanding it. Maybe your shape is too small and the image is too big compared to the shape. If you're still having issues, I highly suggest to contact your customer success manager, and he'll be he or she will be very happy to assist. So where do we get the automatic layout tool? It is in the middle of the studio on the left side right here. As you can see, I'm pointing it with my mouse. Okay, so a question in regards to responsiveness. Again, when we're talking responsiveness, when we're talking images and elements, okay, you can make those elements, for example, the fluid grid, which gave you the option of how many columns do you want inside your tablet or landscape or mobile. So you choose the amount of columns, and it resizes the image automatically. That's number one. Number two, in regards to text, the only way to make all of the text responsive, meaning to make them smaller, is to go through the paragraph styles. Please do look at my webinar, and I'm sure you're going to have an amazing time there, and you're going to learn a lot from the responsive webinar. Okay, so we have a question from Daniel in regards to buttons that I'm going to show you right now. It's how to make a really cool button here. So we need to make this type of buttons. So buttons, let me see, how can I make a button that has a solid color, right? And a stroke, but the stroke is separated from the solid by a thin transparent border. If I'm not mistaken, you have all types of buttons here, where the background color and there's a border transition color here, background border transition color, border transition width. Okay, cool. So what you need to do in that case, okay, just go to your design panel. Okay, so this is blue, and the stroke we're gonna make 2. We're gonna make this like that. So what I did is that even though I don't have the option of having a different stroke color than the fill color, I went on the element itself, which is kind of rectangle, and I just changed it exactly like it did on the menus. So now, if let's try it basically background transition color, border transition color, let's make it this greenish thing. Let's try and see what it gives us. Oh, I didn't set it. I need to go here. Background fade, border. Yep. Should be it. There you go. So it added to it. Transition. Yeah, that's basically what it did. Can I insert a custom survey form into my design so that viewers can send you specific information I want to know about? Yes, on the form you could. I highly suggest to get to know the plugins as well. Okay, the plugins has Get Site Control. You can get a Get Site Control account and you can have a survey and you can have it pop up. You can have it in different sizes and different locations. Try it and let me know how it goes. Okay, we have a great question here. Where do I put the text over the fluid grid blank area example? How do you stop the text overlapping the image when the screen size reduces? Basically, just to let you know, on the fluid grid here, I simply added a text element into it. When I'm going to change the size of the image, which by the way is through the properties panel, okay, I can change the text however I want. It doesn't do it automatically, but, or maybe like this. These are not text that are inside the fluid grid. These are text as a new element, as if it was a new element on top of it. So we have another question here from Steve. When you make a long web page, should you start designing in the portrait mobile phone or desktop? Desktop design do not necessarily transfer to mobile. Well, look, if you're designing, here's your two options. If your client doesn't ask you for a desktop version, no problem. Start with the mobile portrait and that's it. That's how you're going to view it. But I highly suggest to start from the desktop because either, let's say you have a mobile version, okay, but the mobile version only, but when somebody's going to access to your website through the desktop, it's going to be completely blank. Okay, so I highly suggest to do everything on the desktop and have it mobile ready, because you're also going to have clients, even though yes, statistics show that people get into websites on mobile version more than on the desktop. Fine, not a problem. I agree with that statement. But a lot of people, when they go to that mobile version and they go back home and they want to check this website again, they don't check it again on their phone because they have a computer in front of them. So you just check it on the desktop. Of course, a lot of apps that exist have a desktop version. That's why it's highly recommended to start with the desktop version first. Okay, we have another question here. Can I fill a gallery automatically with pictures from a Dropbox? That's a very cool feature that we should have. No, you cannot do that yet. You can only upload them from your computer. Okay, but it's a really good suggestion. I will bring it up to the executives meeting. Should you keep the menu? Okay, so we have another question here from Hannah. Should you keep the menu bar with logo fixed as you scroll? How would you do that? So yes, right now I did not do anything. I didn't. The question here is asked regarding the menus and logos. When you scroll down, it's important that you have a header that scrolls with you. This is going to be kind of our next webinar: animations, fixed positions. Yes, it is important. I'm telling you from the start. If you come to our my next webinar, that's going to be very soon, you're going to see how I animate and how I use parallax animations on my website, and you're going to see that even though I'm looking at this menu here right now, what you're seeing here, when I scroll down, I'm going to have a different menu, completely different menu, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Where can we find previous webinars? If you want, I can send an email. I'm going to make sure that we send an email to everyone. You can also check on YouTube, by the way. I know I found myself on YouTube or on Vimeo, and you can find a bunch of webinars that I did previously in the past like 3-4 weeks. Okay, we have another amazing question here. Can I create a fluid footer with menu links that will adjust to the size of the screen? Yes, try it. Let me know how it works. This is a cool suggestion. Yes, you can do that. It's an element that you can put on the footer. Okay, so wonderful. So guys, thank you all very much for coming. Again, I'm going to cover a lot of subjects very soon. Right now, this is kind of the period of just normal basic design with Webydo webinars, but I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to get more into the complex side of things and show you how to make connections, how to take payments, how to create a calendar, basically all of the above. Provide you with amazing links and referrals. So again, stay tuned because you're really going to like. Right now we're just in the setup phase, okay, and after we finish this whole setup phase and we know exactly how to work and how to create websites, now we're going to start linking a bunch of crazy things together, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you very much all for coming. If you have any questions, please send us an email. We'll be more than happy to assist, and I wish you all an amazing day. Thank you.